Everyone, a warm welcome. Happy Women Together Connect Tuesday. It is noon Eastern, and I know there are so many of us coming in from all over. My name is Antoinette, and I'm our host for today's session, and really glad to be here with our Women Together team and so many friends. I see so many familiar faces, so I'm just checking out the Zoom in the gallery. So if you're on YouTube, a warm welcome as well. You can share a little bit in the chat, on the comment section, or in the chat in Zoom, just where you're coming from. But I see lovely friends. A warm welcome to all. And for those of you who may be joining for the first time, a warm welcome to you as well. It is great to be together and to have our little connect session here. And today is simply on finding center. And I feel already, as I was just thinking about landing here, just feeling a sense of it's already a lot to just consider finding center. So, thank you for showing up today. And I congratulate you for showing up to find center today. So I see we've got New York in the house, sunny Florida in a tiny trailer by the sea. I love considering that. Thanks for sharing. Sunny, cold Bloomfield, Connecticut. Live in the Bronx, but currently in Montauk. I see us all trying to get to the sea. I think this is a theme. No, it's good. Sunny Pensacola, still cold evening in Vienna. Wonderful. So I'll let these come in and just send hellos to all of our little places and spaces on the earth, and just noticing that we are each coming together from all of those, whether the weather is different or, our place is incredibly different. I see Manchester by the Sea and here Nyack, New York, mixed clouds, greetings from New Jersey, love from Sweden. It's good to have you. Snowy Washington State, Chesapeake Bay, Maryland. So we really are all over, from all the time zones, from Europe to the US at least. And oh gosh, from suburban Philadelphia where it is sleeting. Goodness. So we are all dealing with different weather today. And that may be true externally, but it's also true internally. And so we are all, we are experiencing all of these different weather patterns, all of this, these different space and location and, all of it. And yet, we also have we have so much in common, and we also have that difference going on inside in our lived experience. So just recognizing that all of these different weather patterns are joining us today. So perhaps we give it just a moment to land here with a little moment of stillness. We'll do a bigger kind of moment later around finding center. But as we land here together in this space, we do tiny practices. So just a little practice that allows us to land in the space, to land in being here with each other. And just a reminder, to just be able to perhaps let go of anything that may have happened in the moments before this one, and just clearing the space, clearing our bodies, our minds, to be able to be here, present with our community. So I don't know, I have a little tickle in my throat today, but so we can do this by just getting our feet on the ground. So feeling a sense of the feet touching the floor, or perhaps touching the shoe, touching the floor, touching the earth. You can lower your gaze or close your eyes. And maybe just softening the outward focus, softening the external focus. And perhaps in doing that softening, we can open our other forms of perception. So maybe it's an awareness, an inner awareness. Perhaps without even thinking too much, just focusing the attention on the breath. And just noticing as the awareness and the attention sort of oscillate between focused attention, so focusing on the breath, and then perhaps opening the awareness. So focusing attention on the breath can allow for more open awareness. And even for just a little moment here, noticing who is the one being aware? Who is the one thinking? And then as you're ready, you can return your awareness, attention back to computer, to the screen. And if you're on Zoom, it's a good moment to just connect with these wonderful women here. So you can just click on the little view button and click on gallery. And that will be a really great montage, little mosaic of all of our wonderful women, but also what it looks like to be in community with each other, even when we're not physically together. So just noticing that this is the community today. Here we are, and just taking that in. And as you do that, perhaps just bringing a little bit of that inner space, that inner whatever's going on, whatever may be coming up in there, just welcoming this being, welcoming this being to this space and everything that may be going on, all of the internal weather, and turning to this group and welcoming all that may be going on for them, welcoming these beings. So just looking at the screen, taking in maybe a few images, you can wave if you want to, but also just welcoming each other. I know that joy, right? I know I can see that when I feel it in myself, like that recognition. Oh, there she is. So just recognizing a welcome to each other, welcome to ourselves, a welcome to each other. And I love that joy that immediately picks up. Oh, I can see her, I can feel her, I can be felt. Just holding that. Lovely. And then what I'd like to do is just consider what brought me here today. It could be many things. It could be something specific. It could be something very general or not even sure. I just clicked in. So just noticing what brought me here today. And you can type it into the comment section on YouTube or on the chat and Zoom and just give us a little sense. What brought me here today? Was it the theme? The fact that I've been here before? Somebody told me to come? What brought me here today? So we've got a few, just being with these beautiful ladies, the beautiful spirit of this community, connecting with all of these wise women is one of my weekly joys. A desire to reconnect after 2 weeks away, miss the connection, weekly recharging, spirit of connection and community. My cup is empty and I need strong women to refill me. Perspectives from like-minded women. Yeah. a few more. What brought me here today is the wisdom of this community, all of these beautiful women who share with hope and generosity. Lovely. And we'll just check if there's anything in on YouTube. Some greetings, lovely greetings here. A few from by the sea as well. So I simply like it. It feels that I am home. Lovely. So there's just a wonderful connection with other women. There are wonderful reasons for being here. And I really appreciate what Jackie shared with us here, that my cup is empty. And sometimes, you know, we get to that point. We get to that point where my cup is just empty. I don't have anything else. And I need something to refill it. And often, you know, we can, you know, pull ourselves together and, you know, do whatever needs to be done. But to really refill our cup, I think that's what all of these things that have been shared here, this, you know, the connection, the feeling of coming home, the sense of hope and generosity, and, you know, the spirit of connection, community, all of these things, that's what refills our cup. That's what reminds us of our wholeness and our, you know, our ability to connect from a much deeper place. So thank you for sharing a little bit of what brings you here today, and let's do it justice, right? let's do what we came here to do. I love this. Paula shares, being with this group is the most centering experience I have in the midst of chaos, deadlines, and a cloudy, cold day, now feeling warm and connected. Beautiful. Thanks, Paula. And, you know, really, it does feel like that. It feels like we get that, that feeling of warmth. And perhaps we just give ourselves a moment to connect to that warmth. So I just want to invite another little tiny practice. We can put one hand on the chest, one hand on the heart, and one hand on the belly. Just feel a sense of the hands on the body. And putting the hands on the body can be a self-regulating tool, but it can really just feel good, you know, feel good to feel a sense of touch. Just noticing if anything in your nervous system changes when you bring the hand to the body, bring the hand to the heart and the hand to the belly. Perhaps breathing into the belly, breathing into the chest, breathing into the collarbones, exhaling out completely. One more time. Breathing into the belly, into the chest, and the collarbones. And then relaxing, letting it all go. You can keep your hands there, you can let them go as that feels right for you, but just knowing that these tiny practices, the idea is that this ability to self-regulate, this ability to reconnect, it doesn't always take much, you know, there's a lot that could be going on, and I could just be here. You can just reconnect with the breath, reconnect with the body. And for a moment, we know that we can do that now, right? For a moment, I'd like to just consider, what is it that brings me off center? So you could write in the chat or in the comment section. So I see Paula, you know, already wrote chaos, deadlines, cloudy, cold. You know, for me, it's winter. All of a sudden it's winter and it's tense, and I like, or there's snow or there's something happening, and I just like, you know, go off center. I have 50 things that I need to take care of in order to just go outside, you know, wool socks, I don't know, whatever it is. There are lots of things, external factors, internal factors. I was talking with friends the other night, and we did a little go around of what is it that you're addicted to? And I was like, drama, you know, it could be anything. Yeah, criticism, family crisis, trouble accepting change. I need to take a break and not knowing it. Yes, Kathleen, I had a conversation with a colleague recently, and we had this, she said, I just heard somebody say burnout the other day. And I wondered, you know, what it is. Like, when do you know that you actually have hit that? When do you know that? So I need to take a break and not knowing it, that I don't actually have an awareness that that's what I need. I just keep going and going and going and going. So yes, trouble accepting change, surprises, any surprise, surprises. So bodily sensations, yes, too high expectations I put on myself. And just say on the body sensations, even when they're good body sensations, they can take us off, like they can take, like, oh, I'm following that, I'm dealing with that. Or if it's like chronic pain or things that, we have so much that we deal with in our bodies that we don't even know what other people are dealing with. So, and that can really, we start to put our brain and our everything, our energy goes into that. Too high expectations I put on myself. Yes. Too high expectations. I couldn't agree more, Isabella. I mean, that could be a debilitating one for me. Anyway, the violence in the world. Yes, in caps. Yeah. Oh, the violence in the world. Yeah. There's so much. Pressure to learn the language of my new country. Oh, that's so big. That's really big to be able to connect and communicate, not finding my peace and gratitude. Like it's just not there. Esther, thank you for sharing. Yeah, these are, I'll just check if there are any coming in from YouTube as well. But these are so, it's so much that we're dealing with. And often we're dealing with all of these on a regular basis. There will be, I'll be just going along in my day and I'll realize, oh, I should have taken a break 2 hours ago. And then, there's also family stuff. And then there's, the voices of self-criticism and, I should be here and I'm not, or whatever it is. And then, of course, the news, and I know that many of us have been, some taken the news more than others, but, really rocked against, of what has been happening in our world, in our country, the violence. So just taking any of that in, it can really knock us off center. And it also, I find that even the being with it, when we can actually take a moment and be with how sad that can make us, how deeply touching a core part of our care for humanity when we are with the violence of the world can be, and giving ourselves a moment to actually be with that rather than just glossing over it, running to the next thing, what it takes to do that in ourselves. So, and in relationship to the violence conversation, Isabella reminds us that 1 Billion Rising is going to be dancing against, I think it's against violence against women all over the world on February 14th. That happens every year. Yeah. Yeah. So Heidi is sharing with us a reminder of the grief and anger for the senseless violence. And she knows the young woman killed in the mass shooting in Baltimore on Saturday. So there's so much, we in this country also just experienced seeing the footage of Tyre Nichols being beaten and then subsequently killed. And I think, the violence that we're seeing, it is demanding something of us. It is demanding something of us to actually be with it. And I think, when we're rocked by that, when we get that, now we get a notification on the phone. I don't know about you, but, I'll get a notification and I'm just like, immediately, like, and I don't know what to do with it, in that moment, because I'm in a meeting, because I'm, with friends, or I'm doing something and I'm just trying to enjoy my life, and yet, what do we need to do to actually find center and to accept what that can mean to actually be with it? So Francis, I'm going to come back to you in a little bit. I'm going to invite us to practice, but I see you, and I know that I love you. I'm glad you're here. I know that you have a lot to say, so I want to hear it. But so just to say that, this experience of being with all that's coming up and being with the feelings that come up can actually allow us to find center, and to land in it and allow it to move through. I think when we see something like that and we just try to gloss over it and we just try to move on to the next thing, if we don't give it space, it holds on to us. If that violence is demanding something of us and we're not responding to it, the demand doesn't get quieter. And I think that's true with anything. It can be mundane, it could be absolutely a mundane thing, but somebody shared surprises. Jean, you shared surprises. It's like any surprise could just knock us off, and so how do we then, how do I recenter and make space? And there are quick ways to do that. And then there are also like, maybe I need a few hours or I need a few days. Grief is one of those things. Grief can come in waves. It can take months, years, days, so giving ourselves time and space to continuously find center and to also practice finding center. So I want to remind us of Wendy Palmer, who passed just a few months ago, and she has been a teacher in our community, and she had a wonderful centering practice. And she talks about shifting from personality. She talked about shifting from personality to center. And so for her, I think about it this way. So when we're connecting with these things, we're connecting on a horizontal plane. And sometimes when we talk about the breath, we talk about the breath going in and out. And that's often how we relate to the world. I'm relating to you and you're relating to me, and I'm relating to what's going on. I'm relating to my phone, and it's here. It's constantly coming in and out. And what we need to do is find time and space and make time and space to connect with the vertical. So to allow that comes in on the horizontal to integrate, we find a connection also to the vertical. So often when we give these little practices of, uplift in the spine, or, finding the breath moving up and down the spine, that's actually an invitation to connect. When we do the earth and the sky, it's an invitation to connect and begin to integrate what's happening on the horizontal. And another way to think about it is your sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So throughout the day, we're going. We're taking things in, we're exercising, we're moving, and what happens in the evening, or what happens when we slow down or pause or rest or do shavasana and yoga, the sympathetic nervous system shifts. And so we start to actually be able to integrate what we've experienced in the day. So if you've done a yoga class, you move, you breathe, you move, you breathe, you're coming. And what happens at the close is a centering. And it's a centering on the vertical. So really allowing us to, and I think each of us as human beings has an opportunity and a responsibility to be the integrating force. We can connect earth and sky. We can do this vertical thing. And so we can integrate what comes in. We can kind of wash it or clean it through our bodies. And, Paula shared, I think the earth is in a very uncertain place right now with conflicting actions of people and nations and physical changes of the planet. And I think thank you, Paula, for sharing it. I think that's exactly it, that we as human beings, Simba has a lot to say today. We as human beings, we get to take that in and to process the change that's happening in our world. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm not going to stop talking, but I'm going to invite us into a practice, at least. I promise I'll stop talking soon. But I'm going to invite us into a practice which is shared by Wendy Palmer. It's now written down on her wonderful leadership embodiment site that she had developed with her daughter and her team. And I just want to invite us to remember that practice. And it's something so simple. And I'm just going to read through it and then I'll share it in the chat. And, you know, she invites us into this. You can do it in a very short, like 15, 30 seconds in the day. So it's another tiny practice, but it's also something I'm going to move us through a little more slowly so we can just feel into each of these elements of it. So for a moment, I'd like you to just feel the feet on the ground, feel a sense of connection to the seat, to the earth, feel the feet on the ground, and feel a sense of connection to the breath. And on the inhale, focus on uplifting your posture and lengthening your spine. So really feeling a sense of space between the rib cage. Just really inhaling, feeling a sense of uplift. Next, breathe the exhale down towards the earth. Soften the chest and really settle into the earth. So on the inhale, feel a sense of uplift. On the exhale, feeling a sense of softening. And she likened this activity to an image of the French press coffee maker. So as the plunger slowly presses down, the drinkable coffee rises up, and you can just feel that sense of, as I root down, as I exhale down, I can also feel the sense of rise and uplift. So I'll let you just practice that for a moment. Inhaling, feeling the uplift. Exhale, feeling the release and softening connection to the earth. Again, inhale, uplift, feel a sense of connection to the sky, a place right above the head, right above us. And exhaling, feeling a sense of the earth, the groundedness, the rootedness. Then I'd like you to lift your arms. So lift your arms up and extend them out towards the wall in front of you. And just feeling a sense of reaching. So the arms are not bent, they're really moving out. If you'd like to, you can reach them out to the side. Just feel a sense of the space around you. Bringing also an awareness of this kind of circle of space behind you as well. So a kind of circumference of the arms in front or around. Put the attention on the space behind, to the left, to the right. As you drop your arms, keep the sense of expansion as if you were still reaching out. Let gravity soften your shoulders and ask yourself, what would it be like if there was a little more ease in my body? And if there's another word other than ease that fits for you, so grace or, you know, whatever it is, the word that feels like you need a little bit more of it in my body or in your body, what would it be like if there was a little more blank? What would it be like if there was a little more ease in my body? And with that attention and awareness on the space around the body, remember that every atom and cell in your body is primarily space. Just sense how the openness in your body connects with the openness around you. And you can imagine that the space around you, that space in the circumference of the arms around behind, that's a buoyant and supportive space, almost like I have a little floaty around me. That space can become a shock absorber for anything that's coming in. So whether it's physical, it's emotional, the news comes in, that space itself can be a shock absorber. The sounds of the dogs nearby, whatever it is, that space can become a shock absorber. Any words that come in, thoughts and feelings, they can land in the space. So as I stay in alignment with the center, I can create this space around me. I can feel and connect to the space around me. And anything that comes in can land in the space. Anything that comes in can land in the space. So from this place of center, I'd like to invite us to connect with each other. So you can bring yourself back. Wendy also talked about this as just finding, you can do it in a few seconds. Noble, awesome, shiny. She said, can I be a little more noble? And that's the uplift. Can I be a little more awesome? And she said, that's where we expand our energy out. And can I be a little more shiny? And that's the brightness and joy, thinking of something that makes us smile. So we can find that center any time of the day, any place in our lives. But what I'd like to invite us to do is just notice the difference between when I'm operating at that horizontal with some of the things that we talked about earlier. And if we brought those things in and allowed them to land in the space, what happens in the body? Can I stay centered and hear the information that's coming in? Can I stay centered and deal with a surprise of any kind? So that's the invitation to the practice. We do 20 minutes turning and talking to each other, and then I'd love to hear from a number of voices in the Zoom room before we close today. So we'll take 20 minutes. Remember, we don't know what the other person had for breakfast, let alone anything that may be coming up for them around this topic or anything else in their lives. So just really giving each other a sense of compassion, care, generous listening. And we'll see you back in 20 minutes on Zoom, on YouTube. We'll see you again next week. Thank you, everyone. We'll be back in 20.